same idea, right? Three very beefy characters with a good source of magic damage and a good source of physical damage. Unfortunately, if you recall the first game, Echo has a very similar composition, and there they were using a Hilda to facilitate their aggression. Now they can use this Grok, so we'll have to see which one's worse, because of course, Blacklist was using a different composition as well. But this is going to be a very dangerous game, man. A lot of danger, a lot of engagement available for both these teams.
That's true, specifically for Echo, because it's so clear what they're trying to do, right? They want to shock and awe. We set up the box. If you want to fight in it, okay, you're lost. If not, we'll chase you down. But Blacklist actually set up a pretty good lineup themselves. You have a Lolita, a carry. It's a lot of good coverage. It's a matter of which heroes Haji can find with the IMU, and then how early Wise can snowball on his signature barats.
Again, I just want to say this, Indonesian cameraman, you're the Indonesian sniper. Very, very impressive. But yes, we got to look into this game because all the cats like boxes, and we got a few cats here in this game. Number 4, Blacklist going up against Echo. Who will win the fight in the box and who will think outside of the box?
Off the bat, look at the amount of magic shops available for both these, the mystery shops for all these early game heroes, man. Echo for sure wants to try and start snowballing, and in the early stage of the game, you see that Benny Cutie also has a Purify, so we're still respecting the potential for Blacklist to strike back with their own crowd control.
I think Blacklist wants to go a little faster this time, and they're showing it via their battle spells and their movement. Look at this, Oh My Venus going ahead and giving a little bit of their peace of mind at the Carl TZ, as well as the fact that they have 4 flickers. 4 flickers.
I do agree that they have to push the tempo a little bit. They got to move a little bit faster. But now the question is, where? Do you really want to put pressure into the jungle? And if you do want to put pressure into the jungle, what are you willing to expend? Because right now, Oh My Venus, he's really providing the vision. But I kind of want Haji to get in level 4 a little bit first.
Haji level 4 will definitely be a significant power spike, but the concern is with so many flickers on the side of Blacklist, they don't have a lot of purifies, and they are 2 absolutely solid engaged throws in the Black Dragon form with the Petrify Furious Dive, and of course with Yaoi, Flicker, Wild Charge. So once level 4 rolls around, Echo has a chance to just completely shock Blacklist International.
Yep, but it looks like these 4v4s, 5v5s aren't going to happen quite yet, because at least before this first turn, we're about 15 seconds away. Gold Crab going over to Carl TZ here. Sanji spacing out Haji and Edward. Are we going to see a purple delay, or they're just going to make a beeline for this turtle?
I kind of wish that Blacklist does put that pressure there. I just kind of feel like they want Wise to be a little bit more comfortable, get that 15 stacks, maybe off of this fight around the turtle, but in the mid, looks like Wise
Dennis welcome, answered by a Tempest of Blades. Wise put down to about a 1/4 of his health. Flicker spent by Yaoi. He's holding on to a Wild Charge. It's going to be for naught.
Wow, he went with a flicker, but he didn't really get anything with that, so it's a bit of a mistake, but Edward goes in 1v4 right now.
Bravest fighter answered by a real world manipulation. Newman on blast. No one home. Edward forced the flicker out. Echo with a clean take for that major objective.
So many things happening at the same time, but still nothing significant just taken by either team.
I mean, like, a lot of boxes were set up, but no one is really taking the bait. And with that being said, looking at the items right now, I'm already looking at Haji. It looks like he wants to be like a scaling kind of Valentina, going for the elegant gem. But right now, Sanji, no mana. It looks like Yaoi will be able to protect him.
You know, I was thinking that maybe Sanji was going to go for a bit of a glowing one early on, considering the amount of high HP members Blacklist have on their roster. But at the same time, with how often he's just casting spells left and right, I guess he really requires the Enchanted Talisman, lest he becomes useless in the middle of a very important team fight.
But looking at the items, I kind of feel like with the elegant gem, it might be a situation where he wants to go for a Clock of Destiny Lightning Truncheon combo, and if he does that, sure, he doesn't have a lot of cooldown to really like spam that Terrify, but because if he does take the ult from Sanji, then his real world manipulation will hurt, because that is burst damage going all over around, and hook damage right now, Sanford getting approached by 2.
Oh, that's a Detona's welcome, answered by a Bravest fighter, forcing out a Black Dragon form, out of bounds. Sanford goes to save himself, and he will get away with it and save himself a death.
In a way, this is what makes Yuzong so much better than a glue, right? It's almost a guaranteed escape unless you get bursted down. So if you want to be oppressive, if you want to have to pull multiple members towards your lane, this Yuzong pick is just so flexible, and later in the team fights, it can be the deterrent they require to ensure that the carry cannot free hit with those very dangerous basic attacks.
I like whoever designed these kind of heroes like the Yuzong, like the Farsight. Their idea is you can't die in the Land of Dawn if you're not in the Land of Dawn. But speaking of which,
that's just logic. Here we go. Real world manipulation. The stolen one from Haji. He is you. I am you. Oh, that's Carl Teasy caught out by the Numenon. Blast by Oh My Venus. Helping Wise secure not only first blood, but also the turtle. Clear win for Blacklist.
It was a preemptive flicker from Oh My Venus that just catches Karltzy. What a play, and Blacklist now has some momentum, a 1.2k gold lead. And Echo are the ones now considering how can they play against this because the crowd control is lethal from Blacklist.
It's far from the LaFell threshold, 2k ahead. But can we even call Echo a scaling lineup?
okay, hold on. Looking at the draft, kinda, but not really, because they really start getting online by 2 items. So you're not really looking at the 2,000 threshold. You're just like, okay, you got 2 items. You guys feeling comfortable? Let's go for it. Because we gotta look back, like what happened just now, where Oh My Venus has 2050 vision, and I'm talking about the year, not the eyesight. He saw moving forward. This is where Karltzy is gonna be. So that's where I'm gonna flicker. So with that kind of movement, Blacklist now 1.4k ahead, but concealed play, will they actually go for it?
They set up the box, real world manipulation answered with a wild charge. Oh My Venus in trouble, answers back, threatens the Numenon blast, but falls regardless, and here comes Karltzy taking down Oheb, 2 for 1. Benny Cutie suffers the trade, but Karltzy will go ahead and whack away at this turret.
Oheb going in all in to try and just go for a trade there. It was a valiant attempt, but unfortunately not quite enough. And now Echo are able to reduce the gold lead down to 1,000. And with Karltzy just being so active around the map, he's a constant threat in the back of Blacklist International.
Oh, Haji with the IMU real world manipulation, taking down the ult's owner. And now Wise gonna be very low here. Popped down by Karltzy. Black Dragon form by Sanford, splitting up the Ube. Now it's on my Venus turn. Wild charge onto the Guardian's barrier. Sanford still in the half. Black Dragon form pushed away by Edward. Flicker in by Oheb, securing the kill for Blacklist.
That is how scary Oheb is. But now Benny Cutie tries to fight.
Zalman Force helping him dash on through, but Oheb gets more than a few pinwheels on him. Sanchi goes for the trade. It's 1 for 1 in mid.
It's a back and forth slugfest, and Edward's still sticking around with no HP. What is going on?
Oh My Venus. Void Crystal.
Oh!
At the most unfortunate moment, but ladies and gentlemen, we need to make sure our athletes get the best experience.
Okay,
Wow,
calm
man.
down.
We need to calm down. This
Bringing it
game.
I'm calm, you calm down.
Yeah, you calm down.
Oh, my bad, my bad. All right.
Okay, so speaking of calming down, they weren't calm when Oheb actually arrives, because we gotta see once Oheb comes, it's like, yo, let's everyone back up. Except Etiquette is like, nah, I'm going forward. And it's a lot of like trading going back and forth, where they're like, nah, I can outplay this. I can outplay this. In that kind of sense, I kind of feel like, oh my goodness, he might be thinking, he's like, how can I outplay this?
Trust me, I can outplay this.
Yeah, famous last words.
But
Famous last word.
came down to a trade. And again, if the margin is that small, I'm not sure like which shot caller wants that trade, right? Whether Oh My Venus or Yaoi are happy to make those sacrifices.
I feel like the more we go into that mid-game, Echo will have a lot more potential. I mean, early on, we see that the Yuzong, right? He comes in, he was able to get the Petrified
Wrong
combo
camera.
onto Haji, but he does not have enough damage. LaFell, keep your head in the game, man.
Hold on, what is that? Kapanya
Bisa
bisa M4.
It says M4 date, barang, so like M4 date with someone.
Oh, she wants an M4
I couldn't
date
read
with
the rest.
someone. But what I want is to go back into the game where it looks like Oh My Venus was taken down.
There you go. See, I was wondering, like, was it worth it for the shot callers to force this out? Now, Karltzy a little too late to the party. Gonna go on this wall with Sanford as only support.
Whoa.
Tempest of Blades up, plus a retribution, but it's not enough. It's Wise who secures it.
That is unfortunate, and I feel like Echo is just trying so hard to just make so many things happen, and Wise just takes the purple just under the nose of Kaltizi.
Second time, Dua. Second time that he stole the purple.
Dua Kali, and now look at this. They're freezing it up. They're already starting it. It's like, okay, that's what you want, and now they want Sanford, and they got it.
It's a lot of damage, and despite how tanky Sanford is on the Dude song, this carry damage is insane. I thought he was still in the Black Dragon form earlier, but I guess it wasn't. The Luminum Blast just ends his fate there. So now Echo, despite having a snowballing lineup, they are the ones falling back behind, getting closer and closer to that lapel threshold.
Two things here. The Black Dragon form only really provides you so much extra HP, right? And second, the Orcas are getting the treatment that the King of Kings suffered in the hands of Blacklist just a few nights ago, right? They were doing the same thing, like, I will only take the big buff and leave the little one so that if it does respawn, you don't see it.
Sometimes mercy is not good, man. Showing mercy to the little one is like, I'm not gonna sacrifice you. You didn't ask for this.
Regardless of the size of your opponent, you give your all.
Exactly. Now, Wise getting trapped here.
Oh, Zaman Force set down by Benny Cutie. Kaltizi waiting at the wings. There's a knock up on the three members. Sanford, though, takes way too many pinwheels from Oheb. And he goes down. Yaoi next in trouble. And Haji with the RWM of his own. Out swiping, out tapping Sanji. That's 2 free kills going over to Blacks International. They're going to convert into this tier 2 in mid, and Wise going to continue stealing away, choking Kaltizi of his purple buff.
Blacklist already at a 4K gold lead. And look at Wise, man. Echo initiated that fight by using everything onto Wise, and he wasn't even taken below half HP. He's just so ahead right now, and Kaltizi trying to buy some time, trying to make a play happen here, but it's looking bleak for him.
Oh, run, Kyle, run! That's 3 members forced out with Indefinite Blaze, plus the tail end of the bravest fighter stunning him. He's down to 1/8 of his health, just using all the energy he can. Spotted up by Oheb, and he cancels the recall. He's here, right in the middle of both mid and top lane inhibitors. The Filipino sniper has his man.
Getting closer and closer to the 100 kill. Right now, Blacklist with almost 4,000 gold lead. Edward pushing Yaoi away, and now Blacklist looks like they're getting this Lord for free.
Echo might have to slow this down, even though they're supposed to be the aggressors. They need items right here. Because with a few select items, Sanford can still be a huge menace, can one-shot Oheb, unless of course Oheb has some precautions against that. So I think they have to try and get some small power spikes before they can even use their tools effectively to try and shut down the offense coming in for Blacklist.
Now let's talk about Oheb again. Is now ranked #1, numero uno, numero satu in total kills in M series with 233 kills, just surpassing you guys of 232. Right now, Black Dragon form looking like just trying to push them away. Is he gonna engage? Not yet.
Successful defense by Echo. They're still waiting on a wave from up top. It looks like there's still some left in the tank of Blacklist. Luminum Blast charged up by the Queen.
Ooh.
Calling it off. Nope, never mind. Wild charge coming in. Yaoi, the aggressor. Tempest of Blades knocking up one. Down goes Oheb. Down goes Benny Cutie. Yaoi pays the price. Kaltizi getting on out of here. 2 for 1 so far. Make that a 3 for 1. That's Haji taking down Kaltizi, and the mid lane inhibitor is going to fall. Blacklist pushing the advantage.
4 members available right here and 3 members still responding from Echo. Sanji is trying his best to try and delay this, but look at the damage coming in.
Oh, the Terrified keeping this even play. Sanji needs to heal up, and Sanford backing out. Here comes Yaoi. Sanji takes down Edward. Agent Zero is down for now. Echo pushes out Blacklist. They live to see another day. Wild Charge was RWM, making sure that no further damage is done to their base.
Echo right now is really holding on, looking at the items. I'm looking at the heart, already having 3. The Holy Crystal, the Calamity Reaper, it should be enough, but Wise, he's barely taking any damage from Echo.
Oh, Zaman Force plus Black Dragon form. No hope for the Numenon Blast. Oheb in trouble. Kaltizi gets him. Wise the next one on the docket. Kaltizi falls. Wise as well. It's a 2 for 1 so far, and Echo wins this engagement.
despite everything, Echo actually comes out on top there. They're able to deny OHEB any chance of participating in the fight, but right now, the real question, the real problem is Haji on that Valentina, man. He is doing a lot of damage because, as Lafel mentioned, he went for the Clock of Destiny Lightning Truncheon, and he has a Divine Glaive at this point. So, Echo, they can't rest easy just because they take out OHEB, and look at that, engage though!
Oh, the battle for the purple buff! Will Oh My Venus fall for this? The answer is yes! Benny Cutie gets one. Oh, but he falls himself. Haji, the KDA machine is way too farmed up. He steals the wild charge, pushing back the remaining members of Echo.
I was a Romain, but I'm going for this mage role, this mid lane role, just because of how you can really change how you play with the hero just by adjusting the items, because Haji going for a more bursty kind of build, even if you're like kind of tanky, you're kind of like not really all that tanky, going up against Haji, building this like very aggressive, heavy damage kind of build on this Valentina.
The combination of the two different damages from Blacklist is something that Echo needs to try and deal with. Of course, with the more items being built, they can have the option of just stacking physical defense and then bursting down Haji, or vice versa, stacking up some magical defense and bursting down OHEB instead. So options are definitely still available, and with the goal being down to 2K, Echo can still definitely make a game-winning play.
Look at this Orca pod rotation. That's 5 members north of the Lord. Wise and Edward have eyes on them, but I'm not sure if they know how many members exactly. Concealed play, popped in. Can they find them? Haji as well. Steals a real manipulation. Numenon Blast as well. No one home answers back with a wild charge plus Black Dragon forms a full combo. Suffered by OHEB. He's the first casualty here. Benny Cutie as well. Haji is godlike. Someone stop the KDA machine. He gets 2 kills. Sanji falls. Now Sanford the only one left. Can Edward finish him? Sanford backing out. Oh My Venus looking for that stun. It's 3 members of Echo left. And Blacklist International relentless. They want to take down Sanford. He's going to survive. There's a wave here. Can these 3 members of Blacklist finish the job? The answer still in the air. There's one big siege minion here. Numenon Blast set up by Oh My Venus. Wild charge by Haji. It's stolen. No more minions here. Yaoi very low. Can they finish him? Here's another wave up top. Carl Teasy doing his best. Tempest ablaze on. Blacklist International retreats.
Woo! What an intense defense from Echo.
Oh, wait, is it a defense? Sanford going in here, Leo.
I'm not done, says Sanford. Oh, but maybe I am. He's very low now. Stunned up by Oh My Venus. Pop with a concussive blast. Oh, maybe he shouldn't have done that. Now he's thinking twice.
I mean, like, here's the thing. We keep talking about there's a line between bravery and stupidity. I'm not saying it's stupid. It's just like, depends on the result. You can call it whatever you want. But speaking of which, Betty Cutie just picked up a very crucial item to make sure that he can survive in the fight. Speaking of which, Lord very low.
Edward with the bravest fighter, compromising Sanji, forcing out a real manipulation. Edward does get him down. Yaoi gets his recall cancelled by Oh My Venus with a blind Numenon Blast. In comes Carl Teasy, knocking him up. OHEB secures the Lord. Down goes Carl Teasy. This is MVP on MVP violence. Now Yaoi pushed out, and look, a split pushed down bottom by Benny Cutie. Not tonight, Benny, not tonight.
Not possible, and unfortunately Benny gets taken out, and so does Sanford. It's only Yaoi alone against the full roster of Blacklist International. This might be the end, Leo.
Oh, the writing's on the wall, 2-on-1. Yaoi can't do much here. He's gonna bite it as well. Blacklist International takes us to Game 5.
Absorbing the cheers from the agents, absorbing their energy. I mean, come on. Is there any other way this best of 5 could have gone?
We have a full series on our hands, boys. It all comes down to the final game. Winner takes all between Echo and Blacklist International. And now the stakes are higher than ever, and both teams have had ample time to feel each other and try and see what they want to, how they want to do this in the final game.
How exactly is gonna come down to this best of 1? And both teams have pulled out their aces. They've had their aces deal damage to each other, cause violence, get into a Royal Rumble. Carl Teasy and OHEB pulled out all the stops here in Game 4. And again, did we not see this coming? Did we not see this coming? Of course it had to come down to this.
I mean, M-Series MVPs. Now it's game 5. And look, they were playing while wanting to go to the toilet because he's not going straight to the room. I can't remember who it was. It was like, okay, you go first. I kind of need this.
Yeah, I'll catch up.
now.
It was Edward. I think it was Edward.
All right, so right now looking at the players going back into their room, gotta stay hydrated. And again, it is a very intense match, but I kind of feel like for both teams, they're just like setting each pieces, and once all the pieces are in place, they just push through.
Yeah, game 4, here was a story of the M-Series MVPs going to battle, right? You tried to give Carl TZ his old favorites, like the Ling, and then you give like a DPS marksman over to Oheb, and can't help but say, insert that meme where Ken Watanabe from the movie Godzilla 2014 says, let them fight. That's what happened.
Okay.
I mean, it is what happened indeed, man.
Right now with the camera on us, okay? I just want to ask, for those of you who are not surprised we're going to game number 5, raise your hand. There you go. We came in, we understand, it's going to game number 5. And with that being said, we're gonna go over to our analysts where they're gonna tell us a little bit more about what really happened in the game just now.
Yeah, like we have all our hands raised up. Thank you very much, Costas. That was a crazy match. I think I would like to quote LaFell here, right? Like, minions are a joke to them, and it felt a little bit personal, and they're just like, you know, I'm just gonna keep fighting you and keep killing you. It was a slugfest all throughout the whole entire game.
It was a war of attrition. I cannot deny that, but this is one of the few times we're seeing the Echo actually losing their cool towards the later stages of the game, and Blacklist maintained formation, and they regrouped really well.
I gotta say, this is each team outsmarting each other in draft, you know? Just when we see, okay, maybe are we expecting a Steez or Diggy game again? We have the Lolita, right? And Oh My Venus' biggest strength is shot call. When you put Oh My Venus on someone like Lolita, Oh My Venus is gonna find the best engage possible, right?
Yeah, like there's a lot of times where you see Oh My Venus sets up really, really well, the Aluminum Blast. It felt like Venus has like the sixth sense to flicker to the right places at the faster time for some weird reason. It's like the sharing unactivated, like what Assassin Dave likes to say. But we're gonna take a look at the item builds very soon. Anything that stands out to you from Gideon?
Well, personally for me, I think nothing really stands out too out of the ordinary. In terms of the item build, it's pretty standard all across the board. So let's talk about the draft in particular, because again, this is where we start to see tanks just struggling against carry once more. It's the same old story. However, this time I feel, you know, Wise, he's not playing the Kaja anymore. He's going on to the Barats, which I always think is good relatively into an assassin like Ling, but it's just so effective. He sits right on top of it, and he lets the rest of his team, and especially Haji, who's super flexible with the way he uses his ultimates, making it tough. It's not even conditioning at this point.
Exactly. There's this one time Yawi wild charges towards Haji. Haji takes his wild charge and wild charge away. That's like one of the many micro plays that we spotted out. We also saw how Blacklist International literally counteracted many cuties backdoor attempts that could have almost won Echo this particular series.
I think everyone on Blacklist in the last game was a star. The shot call was pretty clear to defend the split push, and also don't give Ohab carry. I mean, this guy is an absolute monster when he plays carry. He saw the aggressive positioning, 1v3 on the top lane, and he gets a kill, he gets a trade. It was absolutely insane. And let's take a look at the team fight participation for both teams.
Yeah, looking at the rich guy right here, Carl TZ, definitely. Ling just going around farming, but the carry though, it's not Ohab that did most of the damage. Actually, Haji, that's the one doing most of the damage. Sandbag Yawi absorbing as much damage as possible. There you go. But of course, the forgotten one, Oh My Venus. But just take a look at that damage dealt numbers.
It's huge. It's really, really huge. And overall, Echo did start to struggle as soon as we see Oheb scale into his perfect form, as we like to call it, once he has that max items. And both Yawi and as well as Samford can't really just jump into the backline for free, especially when they have Carl TZ, which is expected to connect. But when it doesn't, especially when you have that winsome nature, there's just way too much to deal with, especially when you start thinking about Peel. And of course, I just have to mention it, Haji, once again.
Another person that I would like to highlight from the side of Blacklist International as well, Edward, because Edward just literally went in 1v5 at the 1v4 at the very first total fight.
And also, he was doing like 1v3 at a blue buff, you know, at a Link's blue buff. It was absolutely insane. I saw Haji finally made his way over there, but he was in there with the ultimate, the Bravest Warrior, and it was just insane. I was like, how is this guy staying alive? Is staying tanky contagious?
Indeed brave, but MVP goes to Haji.
8-0.
Well-deserved 809 KDA. Icons, I would say it's completely standard, but it's about the execution. And execution is something that you really cannot see in the stats.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, that's why Haji was really devastating this game, because it felt like when, okay, you've already used the Numenon Blast, they've got nothing left, let's start unleashing hell upon them. Haji is like, nah, give me one of your ults, and I will make the difference. And the situation always changes. It feels like Haji is playing extremely optimal in all these types of engagements.
And you can take a look at Haji's item, right? Like he's being full damage build. And a cooldown reduction in conjunction with that. So this guy's gonna have the ultimate every time he wants to, and deal a lot of burst damage to the backline anytime he wants to as well.
Yeah, I would like to take a look at the heat map as well, especially as Haji. In terms of the rotations in the early game, this is the first 5 minutes. If you notice, it's slightly towards the gold lane for a while, then after that goes visit down the XP lane. But if you notice, it's hovering mostly around the top side rush.
Yeah, invading, playing aggressive. That's exactly why this is so awesome coming out from the entire side of Blacklist, right? They have the aggressive composition, and they took full advantage of that, led by Oh My Venus Lolita.
Absolutely, and let's not forget that, especially when he goes down to the EXP lane, there's so much influence coming in from Sanford when he has the Black Dragon form. So force it out of him. Put him down so low that he has to use the Black Dragon form to get back out and then go back to the objectives once again. Now with Echo having one powerful engagement tool down the drain.
And not only just that, the fact that you saw the Black Dragon form used to fly out of the map just to avoid defensively is like a little bit understatement right there, but that was pretty hilarious. But let's take a look at the highlights.
Let's take a look at the highlights here. Here's Edward jumping in, flanking on the side. It's like Blacklist engaged is always on point, right? The positioning. Here we go. Wise does get put to like the extreme here, but everybody else's position is really good. And look at Ohab's flanking position right here, right? On the side, it seems like Wise was in a little awkward position, but it was all planned out from Blacklist. They find the flank and they find the kill.
Yeah, let's also not forget the fact that, you know, in this particular game, we're seeing a different side of Blacklist from previously playing hyper defensively to now actually having, you know, engagement tools to set the tempo against Echo. And I think Echo, in terms of all their preparation, was ready for a defensive play, but instead, Blacklist brought the fight straight to their faces.
Yeah, I really like the point that you pointed out, right? Like, this is a different kind of Blacklist, and
Edward. 1v3, 1v4 actually. That was insane. I thought he was dead.
Yeah. Like Bravest Warrior right into literally, you know, embodying the skill name as well. But apart from that, it's just, you know, Blacklist International bringing a different style onto the Land of Dawn as well. Echo, they were constantly going at each other back and forth, you know, next on each other's throat, trying to snuff out the life of each other, but it is just crazy games coming out from this game number 4.
Now, I know we're all here watching this incredible game, so just want to give a special shout out to all the moderators who are working really hard on live stream. You guys are amazing. Yeah, but next game, one last game that will decide who wins, who walk away, go to the grand finalists, who go to the lower bracket. I cannot wait. Oh my God.
Definitely going to quote Gani right there. Cannot wait. Game number 5, ladies and gentlemen, going to throw it to the casters.
Throw it a little bit too hard there, buddy. You got to slow down. But yeah, game number 4, MVP Haji, the Kada Machine. That was incredible. Welcome. Welcome back to. Did I say that wrong?
I guess.
Welcome back to the caster desk with me, LaFell, Arashi, and the disappointed Leo.
I'm not disappointed. I was just surprised.
I mean, like, because you guys thought KDA, right? Like Kada, the Kada Machine.
Down machine.
It sounds okay. Moving on. Game number 5.
It's a thing now.
Basically a best of 1 right now, where the 4 games is just setting up for this last one. This is the last hurrah, the last yeehaw. I think I'm using that last one a little bit incorrect.
The last rodeo?
Yeah, the last one. Yes.
The last yeehaw.
The last yeehaw.
The last battle.
Hanya Satu. Only one will be the victor here. Now, looking at the games, it really looks like who is able to establish, except for game number 2 for Blacklist, right? Whoever gets to establish some kind of pressure in the jungle will be the victor just because they have more ways to engage.
And
again,
currently,
except for game number 2.
Currently in the metagame, assassin junglers aren't able to do that as much, right? Again, the fact that in Game 4, Blacklist International has given a focus on Carl Tizzy's Fredrin, Echo had to switch up their game plan. So now, going into Game 5, what's that going to mean? Because suddenly, right, Carl Tizzy isn't the same assassin main that we've grown and love him to be.
Right, so looking at the damage here, let's put into perspective because the way that Haji built. Now, compare him to the highest damage, Sanji here, 60,000 and 116,000, almost double the damage, Arashi. And by my calculations, almost double is a lot.
Well, you're right. It's a lot for sure. And I think it's because Sanji was just completely shut down in this game, right? Every time there was a fight, you can see that he was countered by Haji himself. Sanji was countered by Haji. Both E's, it's a bit confusing. But aside from that, he was also being jumped on by Edward, by Venus. So Sanji was just not having a good time at all, and he just wasn't able to actually be that decisive crowd control tool for his team. And on the flip side, since everyone has their eyes glued onto Oheb, that is where Haji was able to just get free reign, do whatever the heck he wants in those big fights. And you see the damage, and Lefel already mentioned the build, right? Full damage, full aggression, and only a Winter Truncheon, just in case, right?
If there was something that the Echo lineup for Game 4 was very good at, is possibly finding odd wins from out of nowhere. And I think in the last moments of Game 4, we saw Benny Cutie trying that. But they sent home Edward, Agent Zero cleaned house, and then they turned it around. Now, going into Game 5, given that they've already shown this gambit, again, it only really works once a night, right? You can't force a split push conditioning victory more than once unless the map calls for it. So my suggestion, don't draft for the split push win.
Okay, I'm sitting in the middle. I control the conversation. I decide what we talk about, okay?
You do.
Yeah, we got this thing, but I gotta ask, because I asked for the Fredrin ban, and the Fredrin was banned.
Yep.
Was that a big impact of how that game really transpired?
I think so. I mean, honestly, Carl Tizzy on that Fredrin, we already mentioned the high win rate, but he wasn't just only doing damage, he has also a solid front line. He has good ways to actually secure the neutral objectives. So by denying this Fredrin pick from Carl Tizzy, it actually lowers his flexibility by a lot. And unfortunately for Echo, the option they went with was the Ling. So he was mobile, he has a lot of damage, but it's just not the same situation. And of course, if you're Oheb, it's not, in a way, right? It's not easier to deal with a Ling compared to a Fredrin that's just tanky, doing a lot of damage, and just straight up in your face.
More on the head-to-head between Oheb and Benny Cutie. Let's remember that Harith was first picked as red side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For possibly a reason that only Coach Tick and Treb and the whole of Echo know. But here it paid off, but only in that split second. But in team fights, I'm not sure if the strengths of a Harith were used to their full potential. At least not in the way Game 4 went out.
The wise man once told me, everything we do in life, it's all about making decisions. Whether the decision is right or wrong, we will have to basically
Live with the
I
consequences.
forgot how the quote ended, but basically that you made the choice, you got to deal with the consequences.
Lafel, this conversation sounds like it happened like years ago.
Nah, it
Yeah,
just
a wise
happened
old man.
quite a few minutes ago before we got coffee.
And
Actually.
you just forgot.
I just forgot. It's one of the FDs. It's like
It happens.
He
It's
just,
an
he just
occupational habit, right? You just forget.
yeah, and now looking at the camera, will she notice? Yeah, she has, and now she's showing the love, showing the heart.
And it seems like a good time because, again, we all knew we were going in here to play 5 games, to watch Blacklist versus Echo. So I just wanted to see, maybe Tennyson Dorsinayan is feeling it. Tennyson Dorsinayan is still with us!
Come on, give me one more time. Let me hear your voice.
All right,
There we go.
Let's hear
There
him.
we go.
Let's hear him. This one's for the Orcas. When I say Echo loud, y'all say Echo proud. Echo loud! Maybe one more time.
Maybe one more time.
Echo loud! Oh, they're tired.
They're waiting for dinner. And speaking of waiting for dinner, we will not have to wait so much longer because going into draft, again, what a weird time to live in. When I hear an analyst say it's unfortunate that they were forced to pick the Ling. Then I thought, I was like, oh man, we don't have any other choice. We have to pick the Ling.
Yeah, no, the numbers game for the Ling overall in M4 just aren't in the books, right? So with that being said, before these teams are forced to pick a certain hero, I think it's due diligence that we also give the same love to Blacklist. Real quick, Blacklist! All right, never mind.
You know what? We need to talk tomorrow on ground to prep it up. But we are now going into the draft. Echo going against Blacklist. Diggy's been banned.
Your teams were relying on you.
You guilt
Or
tripping
actually,
the
please take over.
audience.
I need some time.
All right, so bans aside, it's a very familiar selection here. It's reminiscent of game number 3, actually. Kaja, Cho, as well as the 1-1, and you know the Benedetta, Farsa, and Diggy. But now you can see that for Echo, it's really going a step in the right direction. Part of the issue that why they can't really melt down Wise on that Barat in the previous game is that they were on a Harith, right? Not exactly a hyper carry like a carry. So now that they have it first picked, now it's the time for Blacklist to adjust and try and find solutions for that. But of course, the Lolita has been picked up along with the Joy.
Sorry,
Already,
I need
already
more time.
looking much better for either, right? Yeah, hydrate, stay hydrated. Already looking better for either team, and you could have sworn it was Blacklist in blue and Echo in red, but it's this pick right here that makes you say, oh, yo, that's definitely the M3 World Champions draft in that lineup. Solid first phase for Echo. Carry, Lolita, Joy, and then for Blacklist, this is as solid an Ube as it gets. Eve, Fredrin, and then Estes.
I'm pretty sure this pick and ban has been planned out so well, but the way, like, where I'm standing, where I'm sitting, it looks like let's just draft like we don't care, because you already see the Lolita and you're picking up the Estes, so you know you're going to be clumped up together, so the Luminum Blast is a possibility in your future. So now, looking at the draft, for Blacklist International, you almost want to avoid team fights because having the Frederick, the Eve, the Estes, almost unbeatable. And then looking at Echo, having the carry, you really don't care how many armor that they have. And having the Joy, you also don't care who's in the back line. You're going to be able to disrupt that like nobody's business.
I think as long as Echo can provide ample protection for Benny QT right here, it doesn't matter if Oh My Venus sustains the rest of the team. In due time, they will fall to that high DPS in the late game. The concern right now is this is the first time I think we've seen a Yve in the hands of Blacklist. So we've seen Haji perform insanely on that Valentina, but now on the Yve, it's a different approach. But in the right hands, it's still also a huge threat, especially because that real-world manipulation can still be used very much to zone away Benny QT with that short range on the carry.
It's more of now Blacklist is showing Echo this early on that here is the heart of our strategy. How are you going to Orca pod through it? And they give Oheb a solid hero that can take care of himself. And laning-wise, I played this several times in ranked. It's okay. I think Brody versus Carry is okay.
I actually like it. I really do, because having Oh My Venus with the S's could heal up the Brody, and then it just becomes a point of once the Brody has 2 items, a Malefic Roar, a Blade of Despair, if you want a cheaper alternative, then you can switch out the Blade of Despair with a Hunter Strike, and with all of that penetration and that raw physical attack, you should have enough damage to potentially kill Benny Cutie.
Teamfight-wise as well, you have to just make sure that there's more left in the tank and you don't break up the Ube, because Sanford is so good at that. They have to watch out. Now they're going to wrap up their whole draft. Echo picks up the Lilia and the Grok.
It's Lilia and Grok, so not as much tanky heroes, but a lot of damage. And this reminds me of game number 3, where Echo were able to get Joy and Carry, and that mixed DPS, magical and physical, was just a lot to deal with. But I think Blacklist want to go head-to-head. They go with the same kind of combination, right? Long-range physical and magical, 3 solid front lines.
Now looking at the draft, when I see a Lilia, when I see a Grok, if they have the cojones, they could just be like, I'm going to clear my lane very fast. It was going to take a while for my minions to come back to my lane. I might as well just spend time in the jungle. I'm looking at the draft. There is the possibility, the opportunity to forget your laning phase and go to the jungle. We're going to see if that's going to happen.
By the looks of things, we're not even sure where that Joy is going, right? Carl Tizzy has in the world stage played a jungle Grok. So it'll come down to when we enter the Land of Dawn to confirm and to have expectations.
Now, we finally see the cheers, the roars, and now the final game of the day between Blacklist International going up against Echo.
Whew. Early on, let's take a look at that battle spell. It's going to be Sanford on that Joy, so the very oppressive EXP laner with that Vengeance yet again, and it will be Cortese playing that Grok in the jungle. Let's see if this unorthodox pick really pays off. Note though, Edward is going with the sprint, first of all, and Haji has the Impure Rage, so he might just go for something a lot more aggressive.
And there we go. Now we gotta confirm it. Now we have to solidify. Benny Cutie is the first player to reach 100 kills in M4. And now Sanji, HP very, very low. Will he die?
Oh, he does. Haji draws first blood. And I'm not even sure where that purple buff went. But Sanford looking for more. Bumps into 4 members of Blacklist. A little too early, too soon for comfort. Blacklist now 500 gold ahead.
This is a Demon Slayer Grok in the jungle, so you have to question what exactly is the plan. Will he go for damage items and abuse the Grok's passive, or will he go full tank and try and be another counter-engage tool as Wise is just oppressively counter-jungling him?
Oh, Appraiser's Wrath sent in. Wise already ahead. Very low now. Oh, my Venus needs to heal. King Wise. Oh, there's a Guardian's Barrier. Just lacking enough. 1 HP. Wise walks away.
Grandma, look at that 1 HP all across the board. And yeah, you talked about it, Cortese here with the Grok. We're gonna look at his itemization, but I kind of feel like the proper way is to build like maybe at least a BOD to have a lot of armor on yourself, and then possibly for the Eve, a Radiant armor, and then after that, you know what, you can do whatever you want, because now, bottom side of the map, Oheb, as well as Benny Cutie, looks like they're not gonna be too aggressive just yet.
And speaking of aggressive, we can see that Benny Cutie is now respecting, understands the stakes right here, has it purified just in case, but fight breaks out.
Oh, there's a setup. Numinal Blast on the 3, plus a wild charge. Cortese very low, doing the power of nature, and Wise still gets it. Oh, Echo's a little skittish, while Blacklist pushes them all out with a 4-man rotation. Blacklist owning the first 2 minutes.
Unfortunate, but Cortese used his retribution a little bit early. Now looking at the items, looking at the Grok, just a Molten Essence to be sure that he can stay in the jungle, he can clear a little bit faster. But other than that, is there anything worth talking about here?
I guess for both mid laners, they want to spam spells out, so they're building towards the Enchanted Talisman, which will be a big factor here, because later on, there's going to be a lot of long-distance fights, but you can see that Haji actually has a lot more gold compared to Sanji because of that roam early on that did not pay off. So that's a bit unfortunate, but Blacklist here will be the one controlling the tempo, as Echo is just waiting for an opportunity, I guess, to go for a big fight in the mid game, perhaps once the turtle spawns.
Right now, looking at the emblem setup, so far, so good. Nothing too much to report. Sanford here, seeing Wise. Sanford putting pressure onto Haji. But doesn't look like he could commit too much, but Haji now, 50% HP gone. Down here at bottom, Yaoi wants to engage, but none is found.
Enough to push them away. Guardian's Barrier set up by Cortese. Benny Cutie laying down the pinwheels. Haji spots him. There's some CC from Wise. Oh my Venus slowing them down. Healing up Haji. Echo knows this is not a good spot to disengage. Blacklist starting the Ube down here in the gold lane. What's Echo to do? Another Guardian's Barrier from Cortese. Real world manipulation sent in by Haji. Wise confirms a kill onto Sanji. 2 and none so far, 2K ahead. Yaoi's in trouble. Void Crystal sent in. Oheb going in behind enemy lines. Yaoi gets taken down. Appraiser's Wrath sent in by Wise. Sanford trying to get something back here, dancing around these 3 members. Benny Cutie bites us as well. Edward finds his man. Sanford's in trouble. Oh, the humanity. Blacklist has dominated bottom lane and are now going to convert into turtle.
Echo just funnel 1 by 1 right here, and Cortese now left alone trying to go against 4 people yet again.
Oh, knocked up as well. Forces a wild charge on him. There's a grab by Edward. Can he deal enough damage? The answer gonna be yes. with the help of Haji. Numinum Blast from Yawi, setting Edward where he needs to be. Wise still on the turtle. Real world manipulation here by Haji. Swiping away, tapping, tapping, tapping. Gets his man, down goes Sanji. Sanford does shut down Haji though. Too late for that turtle shield, and Oh My Venus could not heal Haji. The KDA machine suffers its first death.
Excuse me, Kada Machine. Right now, Oh My Venus 007, 100% kill participation. And it's very easy to do that when you're all clumped up together. 5-man, walk down, make sure we're gonna stay here and we're not gonna go home empty-handed. Looking at the items now, Oheb already having that Blade of Despair. That's a lot of damage.
It's big damn, like Nice likes to say. But Haji has rushed the Ice Queen's wand because he has a bit more mana regeneration from the Impure Wrath emblem. So this is why he went for it. It's a more aggressive choice that allows you to have a lot more crowd control, a lot more damage early on in the game. And you can see that it's paying off.
And now Wise is just pushing the advantage again. 3.5k ahead in 5 minutes, that's not easy to achieve, and he's got 4 members on top of him, plus a Numinum Blast, cancelled by Yawi, Appraiser's Wrath, they oblige, flickering on forward, Oheb finds one, but Yawi puts up the bulwark at the right time. Oheb in trouble, Oh My Venus heals him up, Carl DD looking for one, Sanji finishes the job. The ult from the Estes, Oh My Venus, not enough to keep the Filipino sniper alive. Can they punish Carl Dizzy? Put the Guardian's barrier, Sanji dropping the shadow energies. Carl Dizzy's gonna fall. Wise takes him down. Edward dancing around Sanford. A lot of damage put on this mid lane tier 1 throughout that skirmish.
Unfortunately for Blacklist though, throughout all this chaotic chain of events, Benny Cutie has not been able to secure a single kill as Sanford once again goes in aggressive.
Oh, they're not done underneath. Tier 1 in mid. Sanford is threatened with a split. Can Edward get him? Agent Zero wants his man. Sanford a little too fast. Oh, almost triggers the grab there before it timed out.
Okay, right now they're being a little bit too aggressive. They're not letting any talking points from any of us. 3.1k gold lead by Blacklist. And I can definitely see right now, looking at how they're moving around, there's a lot of macro plays like, okay, you go here, I go there. We need to secure the turtle. Oh, and we also got to fight. Everyone, make sure you know what you're going to do. But with that being said, Echo, right now it looks like they're being a little bit overwhelmed. Carteezy 0-2 and 0. Sanji 1-3 and 1. Blacklist, they're not waiting. They still want to push.
Oh, Sanford, you want to dance? Let's dance. Carl Easy push in the... What? That's not going to happen. Not like this, says Haji. That was a close call. I think even Echo wasn't ready for that fight. But wait, look! They were looking for a clapback from behind! Benny Cutie shuts down King Wise on My Venus as well, stunned by the Numinum Blast. And here's the punish. Pops the ult, gets the heal, but Benny Cutie still gets the kill. Carl Easy survives with 1 HP. OM gets a trade. 1 for 2. A little bit of breathing room for Echo, but it's not done. Sanford pops the Vengeance. A little too much damage there. Edward gets the kill. Yawi needs to run here. He can't stay for too long.
It's so chaotic, and sometimes the late game marksman can really value from this kind of exchange. But Benny Cutie, we saw that his golden staff was completed at about 7 minutes, so it's quite a bit late. And I think he's not as strong as we would expect him to be. But look at Oheb, so low.
That was so close, but right now Edward moving forward, putting a little bit of pressure onto Sanji. Now Echo, especially how Sanford is playing the Joy, I think they can still fight this one, which, side note, whoever named this hero Joy, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's Sly because this is more like a frustration than joy.
Exactly, it's kind of sarcasm, irony, whatever you want to call it. It's just not a joyful experience going up against this Joy.
It's an irony.
It's an irony.
Look at Haji though, that is pain, man. 2 of the ones completed. He has slow and he has that extra bit of DPS coming in, and any kind of tanky member, Carteezy as well as Yawi, will be suffering from that poke damage.
Oh, look at the setup by Yawi. Comes in, Flicker with the Numinum Blast, and Benny Cutie shredding Wise. He's gonna get out of here. Oh My Venus able to get in the heal. Haji goes down. Sanford, mission accomplished. That's 1 man down from Blacklist International, making this LORD a trivial pursuit for Blacklist. I'm not sure if they want this. They're still going. Oh My Venus healing up Wise. Blacklist not backing down.
That's a joy for it because right now Sanford with this Joyford is really putting too much pressure onto Blacklist because they want to stick together, but the more they stick together, the more they're absorbing a little bit too much damage. Now Carl Teasy is giving a lot of information. No one knows that Yowie is there. Blacklist right now, they're gonna get engaged.
They stun Oheb, and they're gonna knock him up with a wild charge. Benny Cutie gets the kill. Oh my Venus tried. They really did. And now Haji's gonna keep Sanford down. Pops the Vengeance. Another man advantage for Echo. But what do they make of it?
Ooh, it's just so difficult. They can't really fight without Oheb here. He's one of the core damage dealers in this early game on that early game hero, the Brody. He also provides a good deal of crowd control. So without him around, it's just so difficult for Blacklist to try and get a dominant control over the Lord Pit. And Echo, they realize this chance and they're trying to look for another pick.
Conceal.
They get the stun on the Edward. They collapse on him, forcing a split. Guardian's Barrier put up by Carl Teasy. This whole time wise, start of the Lord with the pull. It gets reset.
Yeah, right now, look at Sanford. Look at Betty Cutie. This is the ones who are going to make the play happen. Edward dashing forward. Carl Teasy getting damage on Oheb. Fighting!
Torn apart memory, Pop and Carl Teasy, and that gives Blacklist a clear go signal. Yowie with the Numinum Blast, only stunning Agent Zero. Oh my Venus with the ult, healing them up. Haji putting up a barrier. You are not going through the real world manipulation. We will take Lord. All this while, Oheb pushed mid.
Blacklist wastes no time at all, getting the Lord, getting turrets in the same breath as well. The top side though, that's a huge wave that will take a turret down for Echo. So a silver lining for the Orcas, but they need to find a way to fight in a more reliable fashion.
Is it just me, or is Echo always setting up for a split push win?
I don't know, man, because right now, Blacklist, it looks like they got to have their cake and eat it too. If Echo is really setting up for this potential split, they gotta make sure that 3 or 4 members can hang on to the entire team of Blacklist that is coming down bottom. Looking like they're putting pressure. Oh, Yowie's in front.
Real revelation set in by Haji, and there's a split already by Edward breaking them up. Yowie gets pulled in. Lord still swinging away. There's a wild charge, plus a Numenon blast, but Yowie already bites it. Appraiser's Wrath. Set Carl Teasy down low enough for Oheb to finish him off. That's 3v5. Blacks International slowly but surely marching through this bottom lane inhibitor. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not looking good for Echo.
2 members down, they can see they're gonna try and defend their mid base turret, but Blacklist, they're moving so quick and they might still keep going.
Oh no, there's not enough AoE here. Another torn apart memory. Haji pops a real world manipulation. Down goes Sanford. Sanji's gonna fight it as well. Haji takes him down, and Blacklist International is the first Filipino team to confirm a grand finals spot.
Right now, looking in the room, looking inside the stage. This, again, the more we look at it, the more possibility, like, there is a chance back to back champions.
That will be a chance for Blacklist International to make history if it all plays out like you mentioned, Mafel. But man, it was a tough fight against Echo right here, but they come out on top through all the struggles, through all the adaptations, all the confusion. They eventually still reign supreme on the top in the first part of the Grand Finals.
As the line from MPL Philippines Season 8 rap battle goes, most dominant team in the game, watch this. They are so close to, again, breaking even their own records. First team to win an M Series championship, coming back to the next year's World Championship. Now, they might even go back to back.
Yeah, and again, Wise is encouraging the crowd. It's like, yeah, come on, cheer for us. The dream is about to not be a dream, about to be reality. Because again, Blacklist now secured first slot in the Grand Finals. Like, imagine having a situation, the worst that can happen is number 2.
Was this a reverse sweep of Blacklist as well?
It was a back and forth. Echo took game 1, Blacklist took game 2. Echo game 3, Blacklist game 4.
It's kind of like a tic-tac-toe, but a weird tic-tac-toe.
That's Echo's
Not really.
coach,
Yeah.
but yeah,
That's the reference I'm trying
like
to
a
make.
pendulum.
Like a pendulum. I like the way that you say it now. Again, this series, there are no losers. It's just moving forward, right? And right now, Blacklist, they're really charged up. They're really energetic, and who can blame them? Because this has never, never happened. To put into perspective, we never even had previous champions defending their titles. This is the first time. Not only are they defending, but again, it looks like there's an opportunity for them to be the champions. And with this, we got a thrill to the analysts to talk about this.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Analyst Desk with me, Jace, Dave, and Gideon. Amazing job by Blacklist International. It's almost back to black for M4 as compared to M3 as well.
Absolutely. Once you go black, it can't go back, unfortunately. Blacklist, now for the very first time in M history, we are seeing a team going for a title defense here at M4. Think about that. No team has done that since.
The first time ever. And they will deserve it, right?
Yes.
Look at the textbook style gameplay. Almost no mistake. Flawless gameplay from the entire game. 5-man tower down the bottom side. This is Ube at its best.
Yeah, but we're not going to count out Echo just yet, right? Like the fact that Echo technically pushed Blacklist to a game 5, it could also be the other way. It could be also Blacklist pushing Echo to game number 5. Unfortunately, this is a upper bracket for Echo. They can go through the they have to go through the scenic route.
Yeah, absolutely. They will have to go down to face the Indonesia champion tomorrow. But ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the build here first between Echo and Blacklist.
Absolutely. I mean, when we're looking at the item list so far, nothing stands out too crazily for now, other than the fact that Call TZ on the Grok jungle. This begs the question, Blacklist, their style of drafting isn't game by game anymore. It's taking into consideration the whole series. We've seen Echo beat the Ube strategy with this Estes before, but Blacklist, right when you think, hey, they're done for, they got nothing left. No, they whip it out one more time and have caught Echo off guard.
And this is exactly what I like about Blacklist International. Like, if you notice that other teams have already moved on to greener pastures, they changed the strategy based on the meta. Blacklist International is like, nope, we were gonna double down on this Ube strategy. This is our brand, and we're pushing this brand to success.
And not only that, this is like the example of the brand. Refrigerant Estes, right?
Wow.
On top of the Eve. I mean, you can't get better than that for the Ube strategy. Let's take a look at the stats here.
The most important thing that I need to highlight to you guys is damage dealt. Echo did more damage as compared to Blacklist International.
Absolutely, and you can tell based on their lineup, they're expected to do more damage. My main issue here is Blacklist, the way that they target and attack Echo in the draft itself. Take Call TZ out of the equation, put him on a playmaker like Grok, who's not going to be able to scale, but forced to play plays, make plays. Benny QT gets bullied in lane, and they minimize Sanford's effectiveness with a Brody. Just beautifully done.
Yeah, like the problem about going up against a Joy with the Vengeance and the Blade Mail is that and no matter how many times you're gonna hit, right, that return damage is gonna hurt you a lot. So instead of doing so, what the Brody did is basically, I'm gonna drop a hard hitter, right? I'm gonna hit you as little times as possible, but I'm gonna make sure that that hits you hard. And not only just that, the Brody also comes in great as pushing down turrets too.
Yeah, and just to your point, even though Echo did more damage, and that just shows you how tanky the entire Blacklist is, right?
Yes.
With the moving fountain. They're able to be there and take all the damage and not die and return the fire to you. And MVP goes to Edward on the Glue Monster.
Absolutely, just making Glue look so very good. You lock in Joy now. Oh, you want to dominate this lane? It's time to show you real domination with Glue. You can't beat me in that 1v1 no more. I can push the lanes. I actually have a good chance this time.
And not only just that, right? Edward has shown great results and great performance. Not only just in Game 5, Game 4 as well. We were talking about this just now. Edward went in, go kill. Ooga Booga, I just want to kill. Hawk Smash, 1v4, 1v3, I don't care. And then trust the whole team to back him up.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, last game, like the Glue Monster was the hope for Blacklist to come back, right? And this game is the exact same way. Edward puts so much pressure on carry, on the entire backline of Echo. Let's take a look at heat map here from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Obviously start off from the EXP lane and rotate towards the goal lane because usually around this time is when you have a lane swap between Marksman and the EXP lane.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, importantly, as you can see on the heat map, especially from 5 to 10 minutes, proxying the waves become really important. He proxies you really early on, then goes recalls, comes back in towards that mid lane to make sure he can maintain pressure and actually be a part of these bigger team fights, which the Ube strategy just, again, so good when you are 5.
This is basically just the heat map of an Ube strategy, right? Like just appearing together in the middle, walking around the map. Usually you see like EXP laners focusing on their lanes, they only go in the mid, but let's take a look at the MVP highlights.
Yeah, take a look. You will see Edward in almost every team fight, right? It seems like this is the 5-man tower dive on the bottom side, by the way, right? Blacklist, we talked about in the beginning of the entire series, the Oma Venus has a better kill participation because they always rotate together as a team, and that is the character of the Ube strategy. And here we go, one more time. This is a one little setback for them, but it's a bigger setup for the next team fight.
That was basically Edward go kill.
Yeah, Edward, go, kill. And even if we're talking about like the mid lane synergies, it was pretty much 50-50, so the side lanes have to take a really big part in actually helping out the mid lane afterwards. Usually we're very used to seeing teams play through the mid lane into the side. This was the opposite.
And Edward is so flexible on the character too, right?